Hey guys, it's Sheila Davis with Leapfrog VA Network and Leapfrog VA Network Philippines, as well as ElevateYourVABiz.com. And today we're going to be talking about time management. Now, this is something that I struggle with. It's something I work on a daily basis. It's something that for 2015 to elevate my VA biz, I definitely want to get a hold of. So hopefully you'll find this class helpful. You'll find a couple of tips that will work for you, and you'll be able to at least take one thing from this class and implement it into your business. So the goal is just to grab one thing that you can start implementing and start managing your time instead of having your time manage you on a daily basis. I know that for me, with 8 children and a household to manage and 3 businesses, it's really difficult to try and manage my time. And so we'll go over a couple of ideas for you. And like I said, when you hear that aha moment or you have that one thing that you learned that you're going to be able to implement, I would love for you to be able to hear or for you to share that with us in the chat. Also, just wanted to remind you that my awesome assistant Tanner is with us today, and we'll be fielding any questions while I am doing the presentation. So if you have questions, feel free to ask. If you have comments, feel free to share. I would love to hear from all of you. And we will go ahead and get started with time management. Let me go ahead and open up the presentation here. Share my screen with you, and we will jump right in. Okay, Tanner, let me know if you can see my screen. So you should be able to see my screen now, Tanner. Can you see it? Perfect. Okay. So let me know when you have that aha moment. Let me know if you have questions, and Tanner will be interrupting me. And we'll try and make this quick because I do want you to take some time out of this hour at the very end. We're going to try and wrap up a little bit early so that you will be able to work on one thing that will help you with your time management by the end of this class, okay? So time management, Zig Ziglar said, lack of direction, not lack of time, is the problem. We all have 24 hours in a day. So we all know that there's people out there that you just wonder, how in the world do they get so much done every day? I wish I had as much time as they did. Well, guess what? We all have as much time as they do. That's the awesome news, is that we can be as productive as other people as well if we just manage our time better. So this is what we're going to cover today. Today we're going to talk about planning for success, fixing your focus, unleashing your productivity, striving for increased efficiency, and then we're going to do a personal review of where you are, and we're going to have you make a plan and set a goal for yourself to increase your time management so that you feel like you have more hours in a day. So just for those of you who may be new to me and to my training, my name is Sheila Davis, and I have Leapfrog VA Network, Leapfrog VA Network PH, which is for Philippines.com, as well as Elevate Your VA Biz. And I also am creating my own brand, Sheila J. Davis, where I'm going to be building that out as well. And I also have 8 children, so for time management for me is extremely important. I need to know where every one of my children are at one time. I need to know where my husband is, what he's doing, what they're doing, where I need to be. I also have, 55, actually now I think I have almost 70 VAs that I need to keep track of and know what's going on with them if I can. And then I have the clients that are coming in, and then I have my clients. So, there's a lot of things that I need to keep on my plate. So in order for me to introduce myself today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I manage my time and some of the tools that I use. The most important tool that I use are Google Apps, most especially the Google Calendar. I have it on my phone and on my Mac. And I schedule everything. So whenever my kids get a new work schedule or they have something come up in school, I always put that right on my Google Calendar. I've got all of their work schedules and school events, and then I have all of my classes that I'm teaching and all of my clients' meetings and all of the VA meetings and everything are all scheduled on there. And I also use Google Drive for a lot of storage for things so that when I'm out and about, if I need to check something, I can just jump right into my Google Drive through my phone or my iPad, and I'm set to go. I've got everything I need all in one place. I also use Basecamp for my project management system currently. Starting next year, I'm probably going to be moving over to a mix between Salesforce and Infusionsoft, just so that I have all of the different things that I need. So like right now I'm managing a lot of things on Google Drive that should be managed within like a CRM or project management system or something like that, so I just use Basecamp basically for my to-do lists and to share with my VA, and I'm going to be hiring a project manager, so that's going to help my time management as well. And so using Basecamp and Google Apps right now is really helping me out. And I also have my to-do list, which is completely separate from my Google Apps and my Basecamp, and we'll talk about that a little bit further down the road, but I do still have an actual to-do list where I check things off on a daily basis. So we'll talk more about that as we go through the class today. So first, let's talk about planning for success. So what's the point of exercising proper time management without a clear plan built in to where you want to go? So it's important for us to know where we need to go, and we need to have a clear plan of how we're going to get there. So if we want to walk across the street, we know we have to walk through the house to the front door, down the steps. So do we have a clear plan of where we want to go? Benjamin Franklin said, and I have a lot of quotes in this one, you guys. If you guys look up time management quotes, find one that works for you and hang it wherever in your office. Where, you guys need to get a bulletin board just for the stuff I tell you to hang in your office. By the time we're done, it's going to be full. But having these little quotes helps me, so that's why I always recommend it to you guys to see if maybe it'll help you as well. But Benjamin Franklin said, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. And I totally agree with this. This is my favorite quote of the day, that if you are not prepared, you're going to fail. Or it'll be a fluke, and you'll just squeak by, and it will be a pain, and it will be awful, and you'll waste a lot of time, and you'll make mistakes. So definitely having a plan is going to be a huge point for us when it comes to time management. So basically, the most important thing is to plan ahead. So don't plan too many things in a day. Be prepared. Know what's coming up next. Know what the next steps are. If you've got a big project, you know what each of those steps are, and you've got them in order. I know that next week we've got, whichever haircuts we've got whichever appointments I have for VAs, whichever websites I have to have done, or whichever web pages or sales pages I have to have built. I do like to plan ahead, but I tend to drop the ball a lot, and that's why I'm hiring a project manager, is because I plan ahead, but then implementing it becomes a problem. So that's a whole other class, I believe, is the actual implementation of your plan. But be sure that you are planning ahead and you're prepared for what's coming up next. And definitely not planning too much is going to be a huge key. I tend to have 150 to 200 things on my list at the beginning of every day. I might check off 1 or 2 and then end up with the day with 300. So I tend to used to plan too much a day, and now I've gotten to where I only plan the top 2 to 4 things I want to get done in a day, and everything else, that interrupts, whether it's children or whether it's my email or whether it's social media, that I don't let that interfere with those 2 to 4 things that I absolutely have to get done in a day. I use a lot of themes. So we talked about this before in planning your VA business success, in where the year has a theme. So for the year of 2015, it's going to be huge launches and big success, or social media explosion, or whatever you decide for the theme for the year, but then break it down by month as well, and then even go as far as breaking it down by day. So Mondays are the blogging day, Tuesdays are social media scheduling day, Wednesdays are email marketing day. Whatever you need to break it down, if you use a theme, then you can kind of figure out what needs to be done within that theme for the day, the week, month, or year to help you plan ahead. Also using the hours of power, and this is a term that I've recently learned, like in the last 2 months, where I actually heard somebody talking about this in a group, where they sit down and at the top of each hour, they sit down and they solidly work. They set a timer for 45 minutes, and they work solid for those 45 minutes. They don't check their email, they don't check social media, they only work on their to-do list or their projects or whatever it is that they have to work on that's in their top 3 list for 45 minutes, and then they take a 15-minute break. And they do this 4 or 5 times a day, and from what I hear, they are some of the most productive people. And so this is a new thing that I have recently learned about, like I said, in the last 2 months, that I would really like to start implementing. And I really do plan ahead, you guys. Like, I'm not even starting this till November. I've got it in my mind, and it's a plan, but I'm not even going to start it till November. And then I have things that I'm starting in January. So I really like to think about things and be prepared and go for it 110%. Before I don't just say that I'm going to do something and then, well, I do. Sometimes I drop the ball. But I like to think about it for a while to be prepared so that I can dedicate 100% of my energy towards that. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to fix our focus. Laser-like focus on a task at hand is a deadly weapon that will help you accomplish more work in less time. So it's super important that we're focusing on one thing, which goes back to that hours for power deal, where for 45 minutes you literally are focusing just on that one item or those 2 things on your to-do list, and you're not letting yourself go outside of that. So this is a great thing to do, like when you don't have kids at home and they can't interrupt you every 5 minutes. Mom, mom, mom. So trying to focus with kids around is more difficult, but for sure, you can accomplish more in less time if you're super focused on one thing. So then that whole, another thing we could talk about is multitasking. And I heard a quote about multitasking once, and I can't remember exactly what it was. If any of you know what it is, like multitasking is not getting as much done or only doing things halfway. Multitasking is multi-something. I can't remember what it was, but it was a really great quote that made me realize that when I'm multitasking, I'm really not being as effective as if I'm super focusing on one thing. Tony Robbins said, and this is another fantastic quote, he said, "One reason so few of us achieve what we truly want is that we never direct our focus. We never concentrate our power. Most people dabble their way through life, never deciding to master anything in particular." So when we talked about in the class that we had for Elevating Your VA Biz and preparing for success, one thing I talked about is how next year I'm specifically going to take 1 month and focus on one topic. I'm going to blog about it. I'm going to social media post about it. I'm going to study it. I'm going to take courses about it. But instead of letting myself try and study everything I need to study, I'm going to focus on one particular theme each month. And so I'm going to try and master that particular skill in that month. I may not master it perfectly in a month, but I'll definitely know more at the end of the month than I did at the beginning of the month. So fixing your focus. Definitely having a top 3 list. This is something I do at night. I go through my entire to-do list and I figure out what the top 3 things that need to be done tomorrow are going to be. And as long as I get those 3 things done, I don't let myself feel discouraged. And so now when I start doing my hours for power, I'm going to be targeting on those 3 things. And if I get more than 3 done, that's awesome. I love it. But if I at least get those 3 things done, I'll consider the day a success. And so have your top 3 or top 2 or top 1. But when it comes to big, huge projects, don't make a big, huge, 3 big, huge projects. Break those projects down and have a top 3 list. Like I'm going to set up the email funnel for this particular launch only. Not I'm going to set up the funnel for the launch. I'm going to build the website. I'm going to create the sales pages. I'm going to get all the social media scheduling posted or scheduled. I'm going to do all of the things that are involved in a particular big project. Just pick the top 3 tasks. Know where you're going. So know what the ending result is that you want to have for that day. So, for example, yesterday I had a goal to have 2 surveys done and the emails to go out ready for that. So then today I can do the Facebook ads for the surveys and have send out the emails today. And so yesterday my top 3, I knew what I wanted to accomplish by the end of the day. I wanted to have everything set up so I could actually activate it today. So I knew where I wanted to be by the end of yesterday. Never look back. So if you didn't get your top 3 done yesterday, That's okay. Add it to your top 3 for tomorrow or today. But don't look back at yesterday and feel all discouraged and everything. That's going to be one of those self-limiting beliefs. I wasn't successful yesterday, now I'm behind. And this is one that I struggle with as well, because I feel like I'm behind all the time, like I'm always trying to catch up, until I started doing my top 3 list. If I get those top 3 things done, yeah, I might have taken me till 2 in the morning last night to finish my top 3 because Mondays are always worse for me because I don't work Sundays. So by Monday, my email is overflowing, my social media is overflowing, I've got messages coming out my ears. I literally had 10 Facebook messages yesterday, 75 emails I had to go through. So, I'm not looking back at Sunday saying, man, I shouldn't have taken Sunday off, because Sunday is my day off. That's the only day I don't work. I don't check my email. I go onto social media only on Sundays for personal reasons. It's really hard to skip through the business stuff, but I do. And the best I can. Occasionally I slip and make a little comment or something, but trying not to look back at what you didn't get done, it's just deterring from your focus for what you're doing today. Now, so do you start with the easiest task or the hardest task? So in my opinion, I like to do some really super quick tasks that I like to get done early on the day, because then I can feel like I checked off, a couple of things early on in the day. But then there's other people who like to do the hardest thing at the first of the day, and then they can whip out those quicker ones at the end of the day. So that's something that you can decide, like, how do you want to prioritize your top 3? Do you want to put the easiest at the top or the hardest at the top? It just is up to you. And maybe that's not even something that you use to help with your focus. But for me, if by 10 o'clock in the morning I've already checked off 2 of my top 3 lists, then I'm feeling pretty good about the day. And then the hardest task doesn't seem as daunting because I already have the 2 smaller things done rather than having it hover over my head. So that's me personally, but like, I can see how other people might want to do the hardest task first and then just feel relieved to sit down and do those easier tasks too. So just totally up to you. The next step is to unleash your productivity. Jim Rohn said, start from wherever you are and with whatever you've got. So my partner Dawn and I have been trying to build a business together for 2 years, and it seems like every time we would get to a certain point, there would be something that we didn't have that would stop us from progressing. And so it kind of keeps putting us back, because of course we're trying to run our own businesses, make money for our families, and then we just want to do something together because we think it would be really fun and awesome to do something together, which eventually will replace some of the other things we're doing. But until this month, it didn't even occur to us. Actually, it was a few weeks ago. I'm like, you know what? Let's just use whatever we have. And then I found this quote yesterday, and I thought, this is perfect. Just use whatever you have and do with what you've got. Like if you're cooking something for dinner, if you don't have chicken, obviously you can't make chicken for dinner. Make something else. So same thing with your business. Benjamin Franklin also said, remember that time is money. So anytime that you're spending thinking about the things you should have, could have, would have, it's just a waste of time. So let's talk about unleashing productivity. Getting up earlier is really helpful. I know when I first started a few months ago, I started getting up at 6 instead of 7, and I was shocked at how much I could get done in that extra hour a day. And so one of the things I need to focus on, and we all need to focus on, is time for ourselves. So what if you got up an hour earlier, but you spent that hour on yourself, whether it's reading motivational books or going for a walk or exercising or making sure your office is exactly the way you want it to be, or meditating, or sending an email to a friend, or whatever you want to do for that hour. Spend an extra hour in the morning on yourself, and you'll start out so much more relaxed. As the day goes on, you'll feel like you've taken care of yourself just a little bit. Also, working on one thing at a time, again, goes back to multitasking is not necessarily the best way to do things. If you're building a sales page and you're working on the emails at the same time you're building the sales page, and I'm the worst at doing this, I will do this too, where I'm waiting for a page to load, so then I think, well, I'll just go over and quickly cut and paste something over here. But honestly, that's not smart. You really need to focus on one thing at a time, and that will really help your productivity, and you'll get things done a lot quicker. Again, breaking up your projects into tasks instead of putting on, working on my launch today. Actually break down that launch into the 25 steps of things that you need to do for that launch, or the 15 things you need to do for a client. Break that into tasks rather than projects. So instead of thinking of a client as a project, think of a client as their 10 tasks, and prioritize those tasks, and that will help you stay focused on work on one thing. And as we all know, as virtual assistants, definitely hiring help or having someone who can help you is going to be a tremendous way to increase your productivity. Whenever I have something like this morning, I had a couple little things. Yesterday morning I had a couple little things that only took Tanner maybe 5 or 10 minutes to do for me. It took me about 30 seconds to explain to him what I needed. But that 10 minutes that I didn't have to do those things, they add up really fast. And so even if you hired your own VA, there are VAs for an hour or two a week to help you manage something, help you clean out your email, to help you schedule your social media posts, to help you with any kind of marketing tasks. That is going to help you be more productive because you're not going to be worrying about those things in the back of your mind as well. Strive for increased efficiency. Cut useless activities and create systems to organize your workflow to avoid wasted time, money, and effort. So instead of checking your social media once an hour, maybe check it 2 to 3 times a day. And this is really hard for me, and I'm sure it's hard for you guys too, because if I only check my social media twice a day, I will literally have to spend 3 hours responding to messages, and I may have missed a client who's coming to the network at the same time. So these are really tough things, but you have to choose what kind of activities you're going to cut. And so going back to the hours for power thing, where for 45 minutes, 4 times a day, you're not going to be focusing on those things, then that's going to cut back on your useless activities as well. Alexis Carrel said, the most efficient way to live reasonably is every morning to make a plan of one's day and every night to examine the results obtained. And this is something that I've been doing all year. At the end of the night, I check through my entire list of things I need to do. I start to feel overwhelmed, feel like I'm going to vomit a little because my list is so huge. And then I pick the top 3 and I literally write them down on my notepad on my Mac, or I have a notepad or a sticky note on my PC when I was using a PC, and I had the top 3 things. So when I woke up the next morning, I knew that I needed to do those top 3 things. And so at the end of the day, when I went to bed, I knew I only had 3 things to worry about, and the same thing in the morning, and I try and make sure that those 3 things get done. And it really does make a difference in my efficiency, not having to wonder what comes next or what's the next priority, because when you have a to-do list that's 1.5 miles long, and maybe it's subcategorized and there's 15 things under each category, it definitely can decrease your efficiency by trying to go through all of the lists and figure out which one to work on. So it's important to stay true to your vision to help your efficiency. So know what your why is. What are your purpose for the day? What's your purpose for your business? What's your purpose for your client? What's your purpose for your family, for yourself? Whatever your vision is and your why, if you stay focused on that, it's definitely going to help with your efficiency because you're going to know what your priorities are. And again, I'm going to repeat one more time about breaking up the projects. So if you think to yourself, today I'm going to work on client number 1, and you haven't broken that down into tasks and prioritized those tasks, then you're going to feel overwhelmed, and it's going to slow you down. You're going to have to think. You're going to have to go back and reread things. You're going to have to check deadlines. But breaking up those projects is definitely, as you can tell, it's a really important thing to do. But also avoiding fussing over details. So, for example, when my Facebook really starting to pick up, it seems like the more people I meet, the more groups I'm in, my activity starts picking up. It was hard for me to check every single notification, so now I actually don't check every single notification. I've quit worrying about the details of certain things, like social media, which is a huge time suck for most of us. So think about the details that maybe you don't have to focus super hard on. So now let's talk about a personal review, and I have a couple of awesome quotes for you here. And this is one from Dr. Seuss. It's awesome. How did it get so late so soon? So this actually happened to me on Saturday. I was working on a project that I'm doing pro bono. I'm building a website for a nonprofit, and I literally spent from 8 in the morning until 10 at night working on the website for this awesome, awesome community for young girls. And I didn't make a dime. I just was working on that all day. But before I knew it, like, I literally had sat. My sweet husband and children were so nice to bring me food and drinks, and I didn't even realize. I looked up, and the next thing I knew, the whole day was gone, and I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? The whole day is gone. Don't let that happen to you. Don't let the day take you over, and I know it's easy to do. Benjamin Franklin also said, lost time is never found again. So this goes to the looking back. Don't look back. Look forward. You still need to remember the past and improve from it, but don't look back and just keep moving forward and realize that, you know, I may have spent an entire day because I was being so nitpicky. It's just a project that I love, and I'm just doing because I love the project and I love the community. So it was easy just to get time sucked into that, where if I had been doing it for myself or something, I may not have been as nitpicky. So just try not to lose time. So on our personal review, are you saying no? This is a big one for me, because when VAs come to me and they need help, or they have questions, or they send emails, or they send Facebook messages, it's hard for me to say no, or to tell clients, especially who beg me to work for them, and I'm like, I don't do client work. I'm not taking clients. I need you to find someone in my network instead. It's really hard for me, because I have some friends who really would like for me to do work for them, but I don't want to do that kind of work anymore. I want to pass it on to you guys. So when it comes to saying no, sometimes we do have to say no, even though we don't want to. Organizing your client hours will really help you. So think about this when you're thinking about planning your days. When I was working with real estate agents, I had Blair I would work for from 10 till noon, Jenny I would work for from 1 till 3, and they knew that those were the times that I would reply to their emails, that they could call me, that they could text me, or whatever it would be. And so I would organize their hours, and I would literally tell them, these are the hours I will work for you. If you need something outside of the hours, there's going to be an extra fee, or I may not get to it. I don't work on Saturdays and Sundays, so I won't be checking your email. But organizing your client hours will really help you with your time management and planning your day. And most importantly, take breaks. I'm the worst at this. I will literally sit for 6 hours straight without even taking a break if I'm not careful. So be sure that you include taking breaks. So try the power hour and let me know how it works for you guys. One of the things that really helps me out is I have a huge to-do list. Every time I think of something that needs to be done, I add it to my to-do list. And then I have a little to-do list. So I prioritize it. So I just don't want to forget anything. So I create this huge to-do list so I can quit thinking about it, get it out of my mind. I don't have to worry about it anymore. It's written down in my Basecamp, and then I can go in at the end of each day, organize, and then I create my small to-do list of my top 3 to 5 things that I need to do for the next day. So tell me about your day. Tell me how you don't let the clock govern you, which is Golda Meir said, I must govern the clock, not be governed by it. And also Abraham Lincoln, the best thing about the future is that it comes one day at a time. So my very favorite quote of the day is from Mother Teresa, yesterday is gone, tomorrow has not yet come, we only have today, let us begin. So focus on what you're doing, focus on the next task that needs to be completed, focus on your top 3 to-do list, focus on all of the things that you need to do when you need to focus on it. So don't spend all day thinking about the 150 things you need to be doing. Focus on those top 3 things that you need to be doing. Try not to let the distractions unfocus you and all of that. And hopefully you guys found this helpful, and hopefully you guys will find at least one thing that will help you to manage your day. So I'm going to check and see if anybody, it doesn't look like anybody made any comments. I apologize. I talk so fast, you guys. Tanner, you need to tell me to slow down sometimes. But I wanted to get done early because I'd like for you guys to spend the next half hour figuring out a way, at least one thing that you can do to help improve your time management. Whether that is creating your huge to-do list and then narrowing down your top 3, whether that's creating your themes for the next few weeks or for the days, whether that's figuring out a way to be more productive by considering hiring another VA to help you, whether that's setting up your Google Calendar and linking that all together, whatever really will help you to help with your time management, I encourage you to go do that. And one of the things that I would like for you to do is to hop on over to Elevate Your VA Biz and be sure and sign up for the classes that we have coming up. We've got some free classes and some paid classes. Also be sure to go to elevateyourvabiz.com/get-access. Tanner, if you could put that in the chat, get-access. That will tell you all of the classes that are already there that are in replay mode right now for those of you who are members of Elevate Your VA Biz and for members of the network. So when you sign up for Elevate Your VA Biz for $147, you're basically getting almost $400 worth of classes for $147, and you can go and watch those replays anytime. And also, just so that you know, we've got a summit that's going to be coming up in the next week, so be sure and watch out for that, and hopefully we'll be posting that. And let me know in the groups and everywhere what time management tools you like to use and what time management tools that you are going to start implementing today to at least improve one thing. And then set a goal for 2015. One of the goals for Elevate Your VA Biz is to have an elevated business by 2015, which is why I wanted to do all of these classes over the next couple of months to help you elevate your VA Biz. So super excited that you guys attended. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, there's a lot of questions coming in. This is awesome. You guys are awesome. Let's see. Tracy says, this is the area where I struggle. I do too. I'm telling you, Tracy, I'm teaching this class, but you know, the teacher, usually it's mostly for the teacher that we teach the class, right? Because I do struggle with time management. I'm the first to admit it. Jeanette says this really helps. What do you think is a good amount of time to schedule for business development, personal development versus client work? Well, that really depends on you, Jeanette. So if you have, I have a VA friend, Marissa. She has 12 clients. And she is definitely, she's like, we had a VIP session on Monday, and she said, you know what, I have 12 clients, but I always tell my clients that I put myself first. So if you need an hour a day for yourself to exercise, to shower and look pretty, and to make your bed or clean your house, or if you need 3 hours at night to spend with your kids, I would say putting your family first and then scheduling around that would be a priority for me. So that is something I really, really struggle with. When my kids come home from school, if I'm in the middle of a project, it's super hard for me to pull away. And I'll be the first to admit, last night I was a big failure at that. So definitely something I need to work on, and I'm sure we all need to work on, is putting our family first. In my opinion, that should be your #1 priority. So determine what time you need for that. Then look at your business. So I typically spend about an hour a day working in my business, right? So whether that's scheduling social media or checking websites or whatever tasks I need to do, working on my budget or my my to-do list or whatever that is for my business, I try and do a minimum of an hour every day, because remember, the most important business that you are managing is not your clients, it's your business, because your clients will come and go, but your business will always be with you. And then you can try and figure in your clients. But like I said, I actually do kind of segment my day where I have a certain amount of time where I'm with my family, a certain amount of time where I'm with my business, and a certain amount of time where I'm with clients. And where I don't have as many clients anymore, it makes it a little bit easier. And I actually spend, when I explained before, that was when I was working as a VA with real estate agents, about an hour in my business and then the rest of the time with clients. But now that I actually mostly run my own business, and helping you guys find clients, I do actually spend the majority of my day actually working in my business part, not the company part. So an hour still on the company part, and then all the rest on the business part to help you guys find clients, to help build my brand, and that kind of thing. So hopefully that helps you a little bit, Jeanette. It's really just put your family first, put your company second, and then put your clients after that. What do I do when I do make a list and prioritize it, and then something flies in my day, which is pretty much every day, that isn't on the list but priority just as well? And this happens to me every single day, Francis. Every single day, something priority comes up, which is why when I very first started doing my to-do list every night, it started out with just one thing on that list. Because I literally was overwhelmed every morning when I would look at the big long list of things that I needed to do. I started just with one thing. I'm going to get this one thing done, because 9 times out of 10 you are going to have those things come in that are unexpected. For example, a child gets ill and you have to leave the house for 3 hours. I mean, it literally takes me an hour to drive to the doctor. So if that comes up, then you just know you've gotten that one thing done. And then now I've moved it up to 3, and now I'm moving it up to 4. And I'm learning that the things I put on my to-do list have a certain priority and a certain time frame, and sometimes there is only one thing. Saturday there was only one thing on my list of things that I needed to get done, and Monday there were 4 things, and today there are 2 things. So it really depends on what you have scheduled that day as well, and how big the things on your to-do list are going to be. So, but guaranteed, you're always going to need to plan for that emergency that's going to come up, whether it's from a client or from a family member or for yourself. Heaven forbid you get sick, you don't get anything done that day, but like I said, don't look back at what you didn't get done. Always just keep moving forward. But definitely, you're going to have things like that happen, and you just have to figure out what's the priority out of the 2 things you're working on or the thing that just came up. But that's something that happens on a daily basis around here. Every single day something like that happens. Jeanette says, do you have any tips on time management when you have a toddler at home? Now, I was really lucky when I had toddlers at home. I actually was a stay-at-home mom, and I did not work at all. And so that's a whole other ballgame for me. But when it comes to time management with toddlers, basically what I would suggest, and I read an article by Reese about this, is that she actually has her computer, I think, on a counter where she can stand, and she'll hold the toddler and she'll work with one hand, whatever it takes, but it really depends on the toddler. For example, when Tanner was a toddler, he was a piece of cake, actually. He and Summer, who are my top oldest 2, were really a lot easier, and they were very easily entertained, and I could have sat them on my lap and done work with them. But you definitely can't do as much in a day when you have a toddler at home. But you also might consider, which is what Reese does, I know that she actually has a little girl come in who's between the age, oh my gosh, you just posted, oh no, so between the ages of 11 and 15, like some neighborhood kid come in who is a mommy's helper. So you can actually pay them a small fee to come in and play with your child. That way your child is still in the room with you. You're still kind of seeing what's going on, and that other child who's between the ages of 11 and 15, or maybe even 8, you could have somebody come in and, hey, can you come play with my 2-year-old for an hour while I finish a project? And maybe even find another group of moms who are working or who need time off, and do a trade with them too. So maybe you have, today is my day. I'm going to watch kids today. I'm not going to be doing any client work today, or I have 1 hour of client work when my husband gets home, whatever that might be. And then the rest of the week, you have 2 hours a day where your kids go to different houses to play. So really, it depends on your personal situation, but there's some ideas. Hopefully maybe that will help you. But having a toddler at home definitely would be much harder. Even with my 8-year-old, or wait, she's 10. My 10-year-old, when she comes home from school, I swear she says Mom at least 150 times and asks 10 questions every 10 minutes. So that's just a tough one. Yeah, Jeanette, I know you do have a big team, and I know that you're trying to manage the team and your client work and your kids, so I'm sure that you are really Tanner, you are still a piece of cake. It's true. And Tanner will be leaving us in the next few months, and so I'm going to be missing Tanner. He's going on an LDS mission soon, and so we'll be missing him for 2 years, but Tanner is a pretty piece of cake. He's really great. So this morning I'm like, hey, Tanner, do this, and he's like, okay, and it was done in 10 minutes. So definitely when they get older, it's easier. Yeah, so when the kids are in school, definitely doing a trade with another mom is going to be better, Jeanette, because, when, like I said, the 11-year-olds are in school, definitely, you're just going to have to find another mom to trade with, or Maybe there's a local grandmother who is at home alone doing nothing. Maybe they would love to come over and visit with you and sit with your child. You just need to make sure that they understand that you're working. But maybe they would be willing to come over and sit with your child or sit with you as well and trade for a little bit of money. I'm sure that there's got to be somebody that maybe you could try. But yeah, yep, he'll be gone for 2 years, Jeanette. Let's see. Francis says, having a high-profile client, I will have rush projects waiting in the email, text. They're 3 hours ahead. They need to be done that day or even within a few hours. I have agreed to work with them this way, but I also have to set boundaries due to other clients' work. Do you have any other tips on managing this scenario? It's really an awesome paying client and don't want to lose them. Yeah, if they're 3 hours ahead, and this happens to me a lot because I'm on the West Coast, most of the people I deal with are on the East Coast or in the UK, so they're ahead of me as well. And basically, you just have to get up earlier, unfortunately. But I know, Francis, you have a team, and so it may be helpful for you to try and pass some of those things off to your team. But if they're 3 hours ahead and they have rush projects, you know, you're just going to have to do them or set some kind of time frame or let them know, like, they're, you know, in real estate it was tough because a rush project meant something is waiting at the title company that has to be transferred right now or the closing's not going to happen in 15 minutes. So I get those things, but try and let your clients know that, first off, if you're charging an extra fee for a rush project, it's possible that they will ask you for less rush projects. Number two, if you let them know that a rush project is no less than 24-hour notice, that might help you as well a little bit. So working with the team, setting your boundaries is really going to help you with that, Francis. If all you're getting are rush projects, you're not charging enough for rush projects. So increase your prices for rush projects and let them know that you have to have 24-hour notice to do any work. Otherwise, you know, add like $150 onto the fee for that kind of thing or whatever. But if all you're getting is rush projects, yeah, you definitely need to raise your rush project rate, or, you know, utilize your team a little more or get up earlier. I'm sorry, I know that really stinks, but when you have an awesome client like that, those may be your only choices. Great questions, you guys. This has been a really fun class, and it's interesting to me that it's one of the highest attended classes as well as one of the most requested, or least requested classes, but the most attended and signed up for a class. So hopefully you found it helpful and you found at least one thing that you can do to help with your time management in your business. It's been awesome talking to you, and again, I would really, really love to hear from you in the groups. Francis says, ugh, my mornings are mine. But yes, I do pass along some projects to the team. But yeah, mornings are tough, unfortunately, especially for me because I tend to work super late. Last night I went to bed at 2:30. The night before I went to bed at 2. So mornings are really, really, really tough for me. So I hear you. And but maybe we need to, I don't know, that's just something you're going to have to work on, Francis. So good luck, everybody, and I would love to hear from you in the groups. And now you have 15 minutes left in the hour to go and work on your huge list and your little list, or start working out your hours for powers, or consider hiring a VA's VA, but choose one thing that will help you with your time management. You guys are awesome. I love working with you guys and talking with you in the groups, and we will be seeing you guys out there. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.